Hello, Form 4 Chemistry Chapter 2. This is a video number 2 and we talk about the title. What is matter made up of? 物质是什么东西做的 Okay? So now I assume you understand what is meant by matter. So I just proceed 啦，我继续罢了。What is matter made up of? 200 years ago, John Dalton, an English school teacher, was the first to propose a theory about the composition of the matter. 他就是第一个提起物质是什么东西做的 Okay? And what he said, 他讲什么呢？ He said that all matter is made up of tiny particles called atom. 全部的物质都是一种东西做的 tiny particle called atom. And he said that these particles are indivisible parts of the specific kind of matter, and we not understand, 对不对？ But don't worry, okay, for what he said, we make it become a theory 啦。他的那一句话已经变成了一个 theory. So we talk about the theory about this John Dalton's modern theory 啦。After 200 years, 200年过后，这个 theory 改了又改，改了又改，变成最先进的 theory. So what's the theory? Kinetic theory of matter. Okay, 什么叫 kinetic theory of matter? This is a theory that talk about what is matter made up of. 这个 theory 提起物质是什么东西做的 and we call the theory as kinetic theory of matter. Okay, so kinetic theory of matter explains the state of the matter in solid, liquid, and gases based on the following assumption. So what we have inside the theory? 这个 kinetic theory 它讲了4句话。其实可能更多句我不知道啦 But in my notes 4句话 So what the theory tell 这个 theory 讲的什么东西呢 Number 1 So kinetic theory of matter The theory that talk about the composition of the matter Number 1 Matter is made up of tiny and discrete particles Copy your notes page number 2 抄在你的 notes 的第2面Matter is made up of tiny and discrete particles. 物质就是 tiny and discrete particles 做的。什么意思 ？Nothing to worry， 不要紧张。Okay, copy first. Okay, copy, pause the video, and now I start 啊，我不能等你抄哈。来 ，So what is mean by kinetic theory? Matter is made up of tiny and discrete particles. 所有的物质都是 tiny and discrete particles 造成的。Always mean by tiny, small, 很小 Discrete mean they are not joined together, 分开的、分离的、没有结合在一起的 Particle mean 微粒啦，一粒一粒小小粒，没有连在一起的 Okay? So, all in Hokkien 呢，福建话 we just call like this 物质是什么东西做的呢？一粒一粒，细细粒，无黏的So all the things that you call matter, they must be 一粒一粒、细细粒、无黏的 So can you imagine the meaning of this sentence? 什么意思呢？来，我们看看。So pencil is a matter because has mass occupied space. 有质量占领空间 Pencil is a matter. And for all the matter, they must be made up of tiny and discrete particles. 一粒一粒、细细粒、无黏的 particle 造成的。Okay, but remember that particle is much more small compared to this 跟这个画画比它会更小更小 and you cannot see the particle by your naked eyes 你的肉眼绝对看不到 Okay, so 物质就是一粒一粒细细粒这些细细粒其实是没有连在一起的 but some students they ask immediately在课室里面学生马上就问了 If they are tiny and discrete 没有连起来的But why they still join together? 为什么它还是连起来拉不开呢 Okay, I started your problem. Kinetic theory energy. Kinetic theory of particle. 它讲了另外一句话 Okay, between the particle actually there is a force of attraction. 在 particle 之间 even they are discrete 呢虽然它们是分开没有连起来的 But between the particle there is a force of attractions. 它们之间有一股拉力And the force of attraction attract the particle together. 这股拉力呢，把这些几粒几粒拉在一起。几粒、两粒，它们是没有连起来的。But the force of attraction attract them together. 它们拉在一起。Okay? So when you try to break it up, 如果你要把它折断，对不对 ？Or pull it, 把它拉成两支铅笔。If your force is strong enough, 如果你的力量够强 ，actually you can make it, you can bend it, 你看折它，对不对？Okay, so there are force of attraction between the particles. So that's why they still join together, look like a pencil. 看起来好像一支铅笔。 OK, so copy on the notes. 它的第二句话 ，There are force of attraction between the particle of matter. 物质的 particle 之间有一股拉力。If you are strong enough， 如果你够强，你可以把它拉开的。Actually, but they still discrete. 它们还是没有粘在一起的，只是绑在一起吧，粘在一起。OK。Next sentence 第三句 ，OK， 再来一个。Particles in matter are always vibrating or moving and colliding with each other randomly. 什么意思 ？Particles in matter are always vibrating, moving or colliding with each other randomly. 物质里面的几粒 they never stop. 它们没有停下来的一天。They always vibrating, having the movement or moving or maybe collide with the next particle. Okay, randomly. 它们整天乱跑来跑去，没有停止的一天。Okay, 那 so imagine, for example, now they say I'm having a container with a gas inside, and I don't touch a container for 1000s of years. 在1000年里面呢，我没有动到这个 container。Okay, nobody come to touch it and disturb it. So can you imagine how is a particle inside the container after 1000 years? 1000年没有人来 shake it, 没有来摇它。So your imagination must be something like this. The gas particle all constantly, 它就在里面呢静悄悄的，因为没有人摇它。But actually you're wrong. Particles in the matter never stop. They're always moving, vibrating, colliding with one another non-stop until forever. So if you really can see the particle, it should be look like this.The particle moving, colliding, okay, or spinning, 可能转来转去 never stop. The day when they stop, maybe it will be the last day for you and me 啦。当这些 particle 停起来、停着的那一天，可能就是我们大家的最后一天。Why? I also cannot explain why. 我不能解释为什么。Because all the scientific theory cannot be applied. 我们之前的 scientific theory 全部坏，我们也不知道会有什么事情发生。Okay, so particle never stop. They move randomly.Okay, 永远都在动着。And last 最后一句 The higher the temperature, the higher the kinetic energy of the particle. 温度更高，它的 particle 的动能呢就更强。Okay, so when the temperature higher, particle move faster. The kinetic energy increase, 它的动能增加，它们的动力就会更高了。So these are the 4 sentences for kinetic theory of matter, but be careful. These 4 sentences actually not for fun. 不是拿来玩 happy 的。There will be your answer in your exam after this. Very fast. 它一下子就是你的考试答案了的。Okay? Next, 再来。Okay, there's another title called diffusion, 渗透。不是参透，是渗透 diffusion resapan. Okay, but this title actually we learn in Form 1. That's why in Form 4 chemistry we don't having this, but so important. 不过它其实真的非常的重要。So that's why what to do? Okay, under this table, 在这个 table 的下面 here, 这边呢，那 or maybe above, 要不然就上面。Okay, we talk about diffusion. 我们讲这一句话好吗 ？Diffusion. Even it's not in your syllabus, I know, but I need it so much. 我太需要它了。So diffusion, copy. 渗透 diffusions, copy. The diffusion of the particle in matter support the kinetic theory of matter. So kinetic theory of matter for 200 years, 200年 Nobody can prove that the theory is wrong. 没有人能证明它错。Or nobody can reject the theory. 没有人能推翻这个 theory. Or why? Because we're having a proof. 我们有一个证明证据嘛。But who can prove to you that kinetic theory of matter is true? The process called diffusion. 就是一种过程叫渗透。Diffusion of the particle in matter. 物质里面的 particle 慢慢的渗透，常常渗透，就证明了这个 theory 永远是对的。Okay, so why? 为什么呢 ？I explain, nothing to do for you. 你什么都不要做，你明白就可以了。This is your Form 1. I worry, maybe you're not having the Form 1 basic 了，对不对？所以我给播了，所以我给播，OK 吗？你不要骂我，你不用抄，你明白就可以了。来，渗透就证明了这个 theory 永远是对的。So now they say I'm having a big balloon. 我买了一粒气球 ，and I put the balloon in my room, and after 3 days, the balloon becomes smaller. 气球变小了，对不对 Or when I ask my mom, mommy, why my balloon becomes smaller? And your mom says, because the rubber band here is not tight enough. 这边的橡胶圈不够紧。So air is leaked out. 空气呢漏出来了。Okay? But remember, your mom actually is wrong. 她错了的。So why balloon becomes smaller after 3 days? The process is called diffusion. And the process confirms the kinetic theory of matter 啦。什么事情呢 See?Balloon actually is made out of what? Balloon actually is made out of rubber. And rubber actually is a matter. 它就是一种物质。Matter must be made up of what? Tiny and discrete particle. 它就是几粒细细粒无粒的。So because of discrete 呢，因为它们是没有连着的，分开的。There must be space between the particle. 在橡胶的几粒之间呢，一定有空间，对不对 ？The space between the particle. 明白吗 ？Or another meaning, balloon 橡胶它不是规叠的，它是几粒细细粒不连的，之间是有缝的。Same as the air. Okay, but somebody again you 有人这样子问，它是一粒没有粘的，它为什么它是一粒 balloon 呢 ？Remember, there's a force of attraction that attract the rubber particle together. 有一股拉力把橡胶的 particle 拉在一起，变成一片 balloon， 一粒 balloon 呢 ？Okay.Same as the air. Air actually is not a piece. 空气也是不规粒的。整粒的 Air actually is also made up of tiny and discrete particles. 它也是几粒细粒不连的。So what happened during the 3 days? 这3天发生了什么事情呢 ？Air particles slowly diffuse out from the space of the rubber particle. 空气的几粒慢慢的从橡胶的几粒之间的缝呢渗透出来。So that's why after 3 days, balloon becomes smaller. So the process diffusions, prove that the kinetic theory of matter actually is true for 200 years. 200年没有人能打败的神话就是这个原因。Another experiment, 如果你不想看就不要看了，你可以跳去 video number 3, but I still want to prove that. 物质就是几粒细粒不连的。再来看一点，对不起Now I prepare a test tube with the water inside, and I add a piece of potassium manganate crystal into the water. So why using potassium manganate crystal, the chemical substance? 为什么选择了这种化学物品叫 potassium manganate 呢 ？Simple, just one reason. 一个原因罢了。I like the purple color. 我喜欢它的紫色，这样罢了。So I don't do anything. 我什么都没有做。I go canteen, drink my coffee, and after 20 minutes, the water become purple color. 整杯水，整只 test tube 里面的水呢 become purple color. But why?Yeah, if I ask you why, student tell me lah, because potassium manganate crystal dissolve into the water. Yes, dissolve into the water. But have you ever imagined what is mean by dissolve? 10多年了，你有真正想过什么叫溶解这件事情吗？不知道，对不对？ So I show you. Now, this is our experiment. I add a drop of potassium manganate solution, and after a while, the whole solution become purple color. 为什么呢？因为它溶解进去了，它渗透进去了。But now we have to imagine. 我们想象一下，到底是怎样渗透进去的呢？那 water actually is made up of tiny and discrete particles, and between the particles there are space. 水不是规叠的，不是规粒的。Same as a potassium manganate crystal, is also tiny and discrete particle, 对不对？ So during these 3 days, 在这3天里面呢 ，the particle of potassium manganate slowly, 不是3天了 ，sorry, 20 minutes. The particle of the potassium manganate dissolve or entering the space between the water particle, 它跑进水的几粒的空间里面。And water particle is colorless, 没有颜色，你看不到。So finally, you just can see the purple color of potassium manganate particle. So that's why the whole water turn to purple color. 这种就是溶解进去了 ，particle 跟 particle 掺在一起了，填满彼此的空间了 ，understands? And after 20 minutes, can you see the crystal? 这里水晶还有在吗 ？Disappear， 就是它已经跑上来了，掺在一起了。Or another meaning from this experiment, again we can prove that the particle move its own， 它自己动的。我没有去 stir, I don't stir it， 我没有去搅它，对不对？它自己动的。Understand? So this is the diffusion process, and the process proves that the kinetic theory of matter is true. So finish the title, Kinetic Theory of Matter. Okay, it's a good title actually, very important for your exam after this. And don't worry, Don't worry about everything, you just relax, try to understand. 等一下你自动会考试的，读书不是一直背，不要管它，你放松就可以了啊。等一下在练习题的时候，你就知道怎样用了。So continue in the next video. Bye bye.